Hello everyone, I am Mr. Dishwasher. In the previous episode, we talked about how Luffy defeated Enel on Skypiea and rang the golden bell. After that, the Straw Hat crew bid farewell to Skypiea and returned to the Blue Sea. At the same time, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, Doflamingo, appeared on Jaya. He controlled Bellamy and another pirate companion, making them fight each other. Bellamy was extremely loyal to Doflamingo, but Doflamingo showed no appreciation. After manipulating the pirates to attack Bellamy, Doflamingo proclaimed that an era where only true pirates can survive is coming. On the other side, Luffy and the others arrived at Long Ring Long Land, where the island's creatures are incredibly elongated. On Long Ring Long Land, Luffy encountered the Foxy pirates. They forced Luffy into a gambling battle, where they would exchange crew members based on their fighting realts. Foxy, who possesses the slow fruit ability, can slow down his opponent's movements. Though this seems like an unbeatable ability to alter time, Foxy's development was flawed. During this arc, Luffy even sported a new explosive-style hairstyle. In the end, the Straw Hat Pirates managed to defeat Foxy and resolve the conflict. Afterwards, they arrived at an uninhabited island and encountered Admiral Akiji, one of the world government's top fighters. Akiji possesses the power of the Ice Fruit in addition to the ability to freeze entire sea areas, making him extremely powerful.
Ice Age.
Akiji warned Luffy about Robin being a dangerous individual. Faced with a strong enemy, Luffy allowed his comrades to leave while he stayed behind to cover their escape. However, he was no match for Akiji, getting frozen with just one encounter. Fortunately, Akiji unexpectedly spared Luffy without further trouble, and the rest of the Straw Hat crew rushed to rescue him. After escaping, Luffy and the others encountered the sea train. Through the train's driver, Kokoro, they learned that Water 7 possesses the world's best shipbuilding technology. As a result, Luffy decided to go to Water 7 to repair the Going Merry. Upon arriving in Water 7, the Going Merry was on the verge of collapse, damaged from the long journey and the ordeal on Skypiea. Subsequently, Luffy and the crew searched for shipwrights and exchanged the Golden Bell from Skypiea for 300 million berries in cash. At this time, Robin encountered a masked man who claimed to be part of CP9.
CP9 です。
Later, Robin disappeared, causing the others to worry. Luffy then visited the Galley Law Company for ship repairs and met the foreman, Kaku. He learned that Iceberg is the boss of the company, the mayor of Water 7, and in charge of the sea train. Luffy also met Iceberg and his secretary, Califa. Iceberg agreed to repair the Going Merry. Meanwhile, Usopp discovered that Franky and his gang had stolen their money again. Fortunately, shipwrights Lucci reclaimed the money and returned it to Usopp. However, when Luffy visited Dock 1, Franky and his gang ambushed Usopp, snatching 200 million berries. Kaku informed them that the Going Merry's keel was broken and beyond repair. Iceberg suggested that Luffy buy a new ship and give up the Going Merry. However, all the crew members have deep emotional connections to the Going Merry. It was a gift from Kaya and has been with them all along. On the other hand, Nami found the injured Usopp and noticed that Franky and his gang had stolen their money. Due to Usopp's severe injuries, Nami returned to the Going Merry alone to request assistance. Usopp, feeling guilty about his weakness, decided to confront Franky again and take back the money by himself. But even before Franky could intervene, a gang of Franky's families once again overpowered Usopp. Subsequently, Usopp was deserted at the entrance of Dock Number 7. Upon finding the gravely injured Usopp, everyone's faces turned serious. Luffy lowered his straw hat, Zoro tightened his headband, and Sanji lit a cigarette. Later, they arrived at Franky's house. Since Franky wasn't there, his subordinates were no match for the Straw Hat crew. Luffy even reduced Franky's house to ruins as an act of revenge. After the battle, Luffy stood on the ruins and made a firm decision. He told Zoro,
決めたよ。Going Merry-Go とはここで別れよう。
Afterward, everyone returned to the Going Merry. Luffy expressed his decision, which saddened the crew, but they chose to respect Luffy's choice. Only Usopp refused to accept it. The Going Merry was not just a gift from Kaya, it represented Usopp's self-image. He saw his own weakness mirrored in the battered state of the Going Merry, fearing that one day he might also face abandonment. So, Usopp and Luffy erupted into an argument. In truth, Luffy also suffered, he deeply loved the Going Merry. However, as captain, he had greater responsibilities and had to make tough decisions. Ultimately, Usopp couldn't accept Luffy's decision to change ships and angrily left the crew. He challenged Luffy to a duel, with the Going Merry as the wager. Thus, Luffy and Usopp, once close friends, clashed in a battle that wasn't the one-sided victory many expected. Throughout their adventure, Usopp had grown into a brave warrior, using various shooting weapons and Sky Island shells to give Luffy a hard time. The intense battle caused seawater to splash onto the Going Merry's bow, perhaps carrying not only seawater but also the ship's tears. After a fierce battle, Luffy finally managed to defeat Usopp with a rubber bullet. He looked at the fallen Usopp, tears in his eyes, and hoarsely said, Then, Luffy picked up his straw hat and left the Going Merry to Usopp, expressing that he would continue his journey. He then said to Usopp, In truth, the crew was deeply saddened by Usopp's departure. However, Zoro told Luffy, "You're our captain, don't be confused. If you hesitate, who should we believe?" Finally, Chopper left a healing potion for Usopp, and Luffy cried for the first time. But the future was long, and as captain, Luffy had to bear everything and continue forward. And so, Usopp became the first member of the Straw Hat crew to leave. That night, no one could sleep. The next day, Luffy and the crew learned of the attack on Iceberg and quickly went to Dock 1 to find out what happened. At Dock 1, Luffy encountered an angry Frankie, who had just learned that the Frankie house was destroyed. He sought revenge and blamed the Straw Hat crew. Luffy also wanted to vent his anger for Usopp. Thus, the two engaged in battle. Frankie was a cyborg with hidden artillery inside him, while Luffy was the rubber man, and they were evenly matched. On the other side, Iceberg regained consciousness and claimed that one of the attackers was Robin. The Straw Hat crew became wanted criminals in Water 7, and Luffy could do nothing but deny the accusation. With the shipwrights pursuing them, Luffy struggled to escape with Nami. The battle with Frankie had to be put on hold. Frankie went to a bar to replenish his energy with cola. There, he encountered Kokoro Granny, who believed that the attackers were not the Straw Hat crew. She suspected the involvement of Cypher Pole CP9, who sought the ancient weapon Pluton's blueprints, which Iceberg possessed. Meanwhile, Sanji and Chopper accidentally ran into Robin. She stated that her dark past would eventually endanger everyone, and she wanted the Straw Hat crew to give up on her and leave Water 7. After speaking, Robin disappeared despite Sanji and Chopper's calls. Following this, to uncover the truth, Sanji decided to act alone, instructing Chopper to find the crew and relay the information. Soon, the Straw Hat members were reunited, and they guessed that Robin would return to meet Iceberg that night. On that night, a mighty tsunami was about to strike Water 7, and the entire city was shrouded in dark clouds. At the Galley Law Company, shipwright Polly was following the orders of Iceberg to retrieve an item. Suddenly, two members of CP9 appeared and attacked Polly, snatching the item away. On the other side, Robin and two other CP9 members infiltrated Galley Law Company and used the Dordor fruit to enter Iceberg's room. At this moment, Iceberg realized that it was all a scheme orchestrated by CP9. Upon seeing the true identities of the CP9 members, he was shocked to discover that his close associates, such as shipwrights Lucci and Kaku, Secretary Califa, and bar owner Blueno, were all part of CP9. CP9 deduced that the item in Polly's possession was a fake, and the real blueprints of Pluton were actually with Frankie. In the past, Iceberg and Frankie were both apprentices of the great shipwright Tom. However, when Tom assisted the Pirate King, Gold Roger, in building a pirate ship, he was almost executed by the government. Tom's punishment was lessened when he built the sea train for Water 7, leading to the city's prosperity. But the CP5's leader, Spandam, framed Tom, Frankie, and Iceberg by using Frankie's battle series to attack the government ship. This incident resulted in their arrest under the false charge of attacking the world government. Frankie tried to protect Tom by denying ownership of the battle series, but this angered Tom. After hearing this, Tom broke free from the chains and reprimanded Frankie. Ships themselves are neither good nor evil. As a shipwright, one must cherish their own ship, even if the ship they built brings destruction to the world. A true man must stand tall and face challenges bravely. Tom courageously claimed that building a ship for the Pirate King was an honor, leaving the blueprints of Pluton with Frankie before taking the blame alone. The government intended to transport Tom to Eni's lobby via the sea train, but Frankie vehemently opposed it, even using his own body to interfere. In this way, Frankie had no choice but to undergo the transformation and go into hiding. Tom, on the other hand, left this world forever. Back to the present, Luffy and the crew finally arrived in Iceberg's room, facing CP9. All members of CP9 were skilled in using the 6 powers, with the iron body technique being particularly renowned. Seeing this, Luffy and Zoro attacked one after another, but even Luffy's power and Zoro's techniques were no match for CP9. They were defeated instantly, with Luffy and Zoro sent flying. Afterward, CP9 left Galley Law Company, taking Robin with them to capture Frankie. Meanwhile, Frankie found Usopp and, despite his initial intentions for revenge, was moved by Usopp's determination to repair the Going Merry alone. Frankie decided to stay and help repair the ship, letting go of past grudges. However, Frankie realized that the Going Merry was truly at its limit, a fact that Usopp was already aware of. Still, Usopp refused to give up, holding on to hope that the Going Merry could sail once more. Back on Skypiea, Usopp had encountered a ship spirit, a being that only appears when a ship is cherished by its crew. The ship spirit was tirelessly repairing the Going Merry in the absence of anyone else and promised to everyone. Upon returning to the present, Frankie expressed that the Going Merry must be very happy and eager to sail with everyone. However, at that moment, CP9 suddenly appeared. They effortlessly captured Frankie and Usopp, exiling the Going Merry to the impending tsunami in the open sea. On the other side, Iceberg revealed the truth of Robin's surrender to Nami. It turned out that CP9 had the authority to launch a buster call on the Straw Hat crew, which meant 5 vice admirals and 10 warships could be dispatched to eliminate them. Given the crew's current strength, they had no chance of resisting. Therefore, Robin exchanged her freedom for the safety of the Straw Hat crew. Meanwhile, CP9 and Robin boarded the sea train bound for Eni's lobby. By the time Nami arrived, the train had already departed, but she discovered Sanji's message, indicating that he had secretly boarded it. Later, Nami and Chopper found Luffy and Zoro. Upon learning the truth of the situation, Luffy decided to go to Eni's lobby to rescue Robin. As regular ships couldn't navigate the turbulent seas, Luffy sought help from Kokoro and Iceberg. Iceberg provided them with a discarded sea train. The Rocketman Luffy, accompanied by Frankie's crew and the Galley Law shipwrights, set out on the sea train to Eni's lobby. The mighty waves resembled monstrous beasts, threatening to engulf the Rocketman, but Luffy and Zoro remained undaunted. They immediately combined their strength and unleashed the devastating 300-pound cannon. On CP9's train, Sanji defeated numerous enemies and rescued Frankie and Usopp. Using a Den Den Mushi and Nami's chest, they established contact with each other. Usopp disguised himself as Sogeking, claiming to be the Sniper King, as he had left the Straw Hat crew due to pride. The trio swiftly dealt with more foes and detached T-Bone's carriage. Unfortunately, T-Bone crossed paths with Zoro and was defeated by his 3-sword style. Subsequently, Sanji vanquished Wanza, and Frankie defeated Nero with his coup de vent technique. Usopp confronted Robin, urging her to leave, but she remained unwilling due to the fear of the Buster Call, which had left a deep scar in her heart. Finally, CP9 could no longer remain passive and launched an attack. Even just one member, Blueno, easily defeated Sanji and Usopp. CP9 then captured Robin and Frankie, leaving Sanji's carriage adrift on the sea. Much later, Luffy and the others reunited with Sanji and Usopp. Everyone except Luffy and Chopper recognized Usopp as Sogeking. They decided to bravely storm Eni's lobby to save Robin. Meanwhile, CP9's train finally arrived at Eni's lobby, an island that never sleeps, shaped like the world government's flag. It was surrounded by turbulent waterfalls and bottomless abysses. Enies Lobby served as the gate of justice for the world government and was a symbol of its authority. Through the island's gates of justice, one could access Impel Down or the Marine headquarters. With this, the Water 7 arc of One Piece came to a close. The upcoming climax, the Enies Lobby arc, promises to be my favorite part of the whole series. Will Luffy be able to rescue Robin? What sparks will fly when the Straw Hat crew clashes with CP9? Stay tuned for the next chapter. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.